All right, thank you for staying with us. Up next on the program is Newspaper Review.
All right, Chukwudi Okoli Ogbaja is here with us. Good morning to you, sir. Welcome.
Good morning, Ere. How are you doing?
Very well.
It was a little foggy as we were driving down here. You know, in the absence of rain, fog clears the sky for the Hamatan to come into town. You know, I know you didn't know some of these
I don't
things.
know.
You're not into farming, so you don't track the elements. We do. Hello, Victor.
Good morning, good to see you. I've told you to stop introducing yourself to me as a farmer, not until I eat something from your farm. Good to see you anyway.
You'll wait forever.
That's not a good one. Anyways, let's see what the papers have. We begin with the Nigerian pilot this morning, and it leads with a bold headline with red ink, and it says, "No more excuses." Tinubu charges new service chiefs to tackle insecurity headlong without excuses, urges them to approach their assignments with highest level of patriotism and dedication, describes their declaration as renewed commitment to ensure peace, security of Nigerians. Of course, so much more as regards that. Page 8 has all of that. Above that lead story, just below the masthead, 5 Enugu reps dump PDP for APC. Details on page 5. Nigeria's pension assets hit over 25 trillion naira, says Pencom. Interesting. And below the lead story this morning, we have 5 died, 2 injured in Ondo Road crash. Not a good one. That can be found on page 7. ADC begins phase load management of electricity in FCT. 1 dead, 8 injured as another building collapses in Lagos. Wow, this is becoming too many. And on health, Lassa fever kills 1 as Benue government begins surveillance of people in contact with victim. Tinubu approves 15% fuel diesel import tariff. And finally, Anambra Guba, NSCDC deploys 10,250 operatives to enhance security. That's on page 5. Let's see what the blueprint is offering this morning. The blueprint, of course, also leads with the mandates to the service chiefs. It says, "We expect results, not excuses," Tinubu tells new service chiefs. Above that, a very interesting caption here. I'm sure you want to also hear this. Natasha invites Akpabio orders to project commissioning in Kogi. Details on page 7. All right, you want to look out for that. Very interesting read, I tell you. Why Tinubu approved 15% import duty on petrol and diesel is also right here. And 5 PDP, 1 Labour Party rep defect to APC. Why mental illness, suicide cases are rampant in Nigeria. That's according to Redon. And finally, SEC partners CBN, EFCC on illicit digital wallets. All right, Victor.
Thank you, Ian Ray. I have the Leadership Friday. And let's begin just inside the nameplate. And sports. Saudi Arabia turned down Messi's stint ahead of 2026 World Cup, says official. That's stories on page 30. And below the nameplate, Yilwada, Governor Mba storm house as 6 reps join ruling party. That's on page 19. And to the major headline, refiners hail Tinubu's imposition of 15% duty on imported petrol. Diesel is on page 6. And the last set of stories here, in politics, Bauchi Assembly writes Senate, 6 creation of 29 new councils. 9 die in Lagos Ondo accidents is on page 9. Commission enhances staff capacity ahead of 2026 Hajj. Details on page 29. Senate confirms Bernard Doro as Humanitarian Affairs Minister, page 28. And President to service chiefs, Nigerians want results, not excuses. It's on page 28. And finally, Army Chief redeploys senior officers, appoints others in shake-up. You get details of that on page 7. Chukode.
Whether Saudi Arabia turned down or turns down a Messi stint ahead of the World Cup, Messi will remain La Pulga Atomica. That's the fly. The fly that gets in your drink. Messi is Messi, whatever happens. Don't give me R7, whatever you call the other...
CR7,
CR7.
The big man.
Yes, I know. You'll support him if only to oppose Chukudi. Anyway, 15% imposition of import duty ad valorem by the president. Some are saying it will protect local refiners, which is true. Some are saying it's going to lead to prices going up. Actually, Daily Sketch has something in the direction of this is going to push up fuel prices. The question Chukudi asks is, don't we have enough fuel coming from local refining? Must we import? That said, if we are not able to, when I say we are not able to, I'm talking about the few model refiners around, and Dangote, of course, the behemoth on the scene, so to speak. If we are, look, if Dangote were an Indian citizen and he established a refinery, Indian government would almost automatically say that you don't buy foreign fuel, you buy from this person. They are that self-promoting and self-preserving. We say it's free market, everybody has a right to. I agree. But there are certain statements you make, particularly in a developing country like Nigeria, to show that we can self-support, self-service and all that. You know, so I think the imposition is good. It's going to get more money for government for those who insist on importing, you know. But I am thinking that if we can supply the fuel locally, why don't we make a nationalistic statement by buying from ourselves? That's what I
think those who have, you know, spoken to the contrary cite the likelihood of monopoly, and that monopoly ultimately will drive up prices. So those for have arguments, those against have arguments. I think that's what it is.
Yes, Victor, you have a point. But remember that we listened to all manner of ridicule just before, immediately Dangote commissioned his, inaugurated the refinery. Some were even saying that Dangote fuel was inferior to their own fuel. Later we found out who was telling a lie. That's talking about sulfur content and all that. You know, I think that we should push into the backyard where it belongs all these bickerings, which are usually carried out to foster or to feather individual nests. We think of pecuniary benefits and not citizen welfare in this country. And it's about time we showed real patriotism, you know, in this country. Because without it, no one grows. Everybody says Trump has done this, Trump has done that. The truth is that Trump loves his America, you know. I don't know whether I'm one of his fans, but you have to give him his due. You must be a country-first sort of person. I remember 1960, you know, October 1. The green, white, green. My mother tied a wrapper on my, you know, we didn't have shirts and shorts to wear. But we were really proud that day. That zeal, where has it gone? What has happened to it? Nigeria was. Nigeria still can be. It depends on you and me. That's it. And that reminds me, the National Orientation Agency said somewhere that they are really happy about the kind of support coming from the president.
Yes.
When you reintroduce values, when you call people to who we have always been, who we are, whom we ought to continue being, it is at the doorstep of the National Orientation Agency. When I was sitting here, I kept asking, where is NOA? Where is NOA? Values are dropping in this country. It is the National Orientation Agency that is charged with telling people who we are, because many of us are straying away from our Nigerianness.
The NOA really, in recent times, have actually been alive to its responsibility.
That's a good one.
They have come up with the values charter, I think about 8
Thank
points
you.
or so. And then if you see the kind of jingles they have on air, they're actually, in fact, there's one that talks about Nigeria happened to me in a positive light. I mean, just to change the negative.
Contradict what these other people are saying.
You know, and all. And then, I mean, I just hope that we can sustain it.
Thank you.
You know, over time, of course, the narrative will change.
Let them can contract me. I'll script a few lines for them that I'm not going to charge them.
You're not a contract chaser.
I'm a contract chaser, you know? Okay. There's this other one you mentioned, which I would like to also speak to. Which one was it again? Oh, God. It's okay. The pension thing, 758 billion naira bond to clear long-standing pension liabilities. That's from the federal government.
Yeah.
And I say that is a very good step forward. I don't like a situation where a man will serve and serve and serve. They go home and they begin to listen to empty promises concerning what is rightly theirs.
Yes.
Actually, one of the reasons people open up companies in this country and don't pay their staff for about 3 months, 6 months, and nothing happens, you know, I am well versed in this, in my sojourn through 8 TV stations, so I know what I'm talking about. One of the reasons is that people don't get penalized. In the U.S., how can you owe people for more than 2 months? They are going to fold you up and then pay off the people you owe. You don't even try it, you know. So that should also concern pensions. You don't withhold people's pensions.
Exactly.
You don't. Let us make it a law that you don't withhold people's pensions. Whatever it takes, make sure these people get their money. Some of them are dead anyway. Some of them would even die. Please, I'm not a messenger of death. Some of them might not make it to when the El Dorado that is being intoned there is going to happen. Let us have a heart.
Honestly, a worker is worthy of his wages. I think it's a crime.
Thank you.
It's a crime against God and humanity not to pay someone who has worked for you.
That's it, my dear.
It's
And
terrible.
the other one is Pencom is saying that you have the assets.
Has hit 25 trillion
Have hit,
naira.
25 trillion, not billion. So the question you ask now is it just they're getting interest on the monies being warehoused by the different pension managers? Or is there something extra that can go to the recipient of pension eventually? You know, what kind of value can be added? Because the money we are talking about is really huge and all that. What amount of it can percolate down to the receiver of pension. The pensioners? We should keep thinking that way.
You mentioned pension. I remember seeing the police pensioners with their, banner in front of the National Assembly yesterday.
That's it. Well, that's what I'm talking about.
I've been asked to send you home, but Natasha invites Akpabio. Others for project inauguration.
Why would you bring up that story,
Did
Victor?
you expect them to quarrel forever?
Yeah, I was going to say that.
Some kind of fence mending. Wait a minute. I was never one of those. I'm the strict kind of journalist. I never got into the gossip about Natasha and Akpabio. Actually, I said the two officers, maybe we should have penalized them for bringing things I thought were trivialities onto a Senate, whatever. But thank God they've settled it. Hamas sometimes not. The best make mistakes, so let's not take it out on them forever. But the point is, there has to be a rapprochement, there has to be coming together, there has to be peacemaking, fence mending at a stage in people's lives.
For the sake of the nation.
So let us encourage them, please, so that they can at least work together.
Of course. We're looking forward to that, and we hope that the Senate President
a great weekend.
Please I do?
Please go get one.
Did I speak a lot of grammar?
We'll see you again on Monday.
Bye-bye, guys.